What we're talking about today is spinal column extension. And extension can be looked at as a stiff, straight back, which maybe previously you've been told that strengthen the spine, so we overstrengthen. A stiff spine is equally as damaging. So what we want is to have areas, and I use kind of rubber bands to show. This is number one. This is one of the main areas of tension and tightness. Secondly, below, oops, my rubber band sprung, right? So if you can imagine tight, what's going to happen is that these bones that are already close start closing down. More importantly, when we learn to extend the spine and do a back bend, so some of our back bends can tend to feel either this, right, or this. It's not an even. So if we take the tension lines from each segment out, so we're going to go up and down the spine today, we're better able to have what we call articulation. It should feel like a strand of pearls that moves open and close. So although there's muscles and strength around it, it's still pliable. My tailbone needs to know that when I'm doing something where a back movement, very classic, is a squat or a chair pose where I'm pulling back, this doesn't remain rigid because so I'm strengthening it, but when I stand up, I don't want to have it stay in that form. I want it to be able to release. Yes, so some of you have taken my class. I use sink and release with that. So that's the back body. The front body today we're going to talk about the, like using rubber bands because it shows what can happen in between. So we've got this nice, maybe kind of flat belly, but guess what happens when there's just a lower back that's tight, pushing forward. See that? So when we tend to do moves when we stand, pressing this way, it's pressure. So a lot of our abdominal cavity pushes out. There is no way to really get our core strength. So if I'm trying to do sit-ups in this position, all I'm getting is pressure forward and tension here. What we want to do is have this release, tension, whoops, and then this gets to shore up. When this lengthens, this shores up. The bottom line is when I do a pose, we're going to do our beautiful warrior one, which we've been practicing, where it doesn't feel like this. Okay, recovery is hard out of it, but we want to feel short, released. Then from here, we can go anywhere, okay? So we're going to start a little different today. We're going to start on our, bellies. So we're going to face in. This is why I want you to look at each other so you can see what everyone's doing. And if you happen to notice, and here's where I do talk about the sounds associated with some of our back work. You've heard me say, how many of you have ever done either bow pose, which I don't do because my knee doesn't allow me to grab me, but when we do a position like locust, we will tend to do exactly what I said, short, long in the abdomen, but you can't really see it because the floor's here. But what you will hear is something like this. Seal. So, and it would be equate to doing this. If the floor wasn't there, I'd be. So think about what it's like if you were suspended in air. If you're suspended in air, these abdominal muscles, our choice is, can I close these up? And when I'm in a standing body, so the floor is a good thing, but the floor can mask what we're actually supposed to do, which is lift and shore up the abdominal wall. Imagine that your mat is super soft, like it's jello. So if you push your belly out, it's going to just push right through, okay? So on your bellies, looking at each other, and the person across from you barks like a seal. You will. Okay, so not that I want to replicate what we would not want to do, but just imagine all you want to do. You can have your arms behind you with the palms up. Now, if I asked you without anything and you were given the cue just to use your back muscles and lift the head and lift the legs, go ahead and do that. And if you like, And there's a tense body with a rigid spine. Yes? Release. And relax. Give yourself a hips towards the heel. Balasana. Push up, hips towards the heel. Sink the tailbone towards the heel. Okay, we're going to do one more version. Round up. So this version, I'm going to show right here. I want to reframe it. So if I say, notice the looseness when I push up of my legs. And a lot of times we'll try to push up and our legs kind of dangle. They go, or you see no tension through the heels. I call this pinning. Now I'm going to pin, and visibly when I pin, the abdominal wall goes in and that relaxes. Relax doesn't mean not strong. Relax means it's in a strength line that's relaxed. It's like my tailbone relaxes. There, using just the right amount, up, up. And I don't need to be here where I break that line. I need to be here. And if I'm going to move anymore, it's my collarbone that moves forward. So think about an even, don't think shape, think about an even representation top to bottom.